Welcome to Zonie Living. They said home prices couldn't keep going up. They said beware of the bubble. They said interest rates would level off before now. They, many of us, along with realtors and economists, have been trying to study, predict, and navigate through Arizona's unprecedented real estate market and repeated interest rate hikes. Joining us from the trenches of the still frenzied home buying market is realtor Laurie Harrison with Flagstaff-based Zion Realty.
Hi, good morning, Bonnie. It's
Hi,
great to
Laurie.
see you.
Great to see you too. Great to see the forest behind you. It's
All my
beautiful.
ponderosa pine trees.
Oh, love them. I can almost smell them. Well, you have been on this wild ride for some time now. Tell us about it. What are things like out there?
Well, we thought last summer was wild, and the truth is, this summer is quite a journey. I'm starting at about 5:30 in the morning and finishing around 7, 8 o'clock at night. It is at a absolutely rapid speed, and it's just exciting, I think, for both buyers and sellers, and a really great time in real estate.
Boy, it's fair to say that not all Arizona markets and realtors are seeing the same level of frenetic home buying activity that you are in Flagstaff. However, people continue to want to live in Arizona, buy their first home, or that highly desirable second home in the mountains, and you seem to have nailed the sweet spot. Tell us about that.
I totally agree with you. I think that that sweet spot, it really is that 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 2 car garage home that's got a little bit of space for yard, whether that's going to be RVs and motorhomes or pets or gardening. That is the sweet spot. And price point being anything right around 600,000 and below is receiving multiple offers when it's in excellent condition. And people are just snapping them up immediately. There definitely seems to be a bit of a shortage in that sweet spot.
Boy, well, I think it's important to note also that home buyers are not necessarily behaving the way they were in recent years. There's a little more sanity out there right now. People are not buying homes sight unseen generally. They're not eagerly agreeing to waive inspections or give other concessions to home sellers. And there are more homes on the market to choose from now than there have been in quite a while. But Lori, it doesn't seem to matter what the market is doing or the amount of inventory available. You personally have a knack for making homes beautiful and encouraging home sellers to do a little more to make their homes attractive and make people happy on both sides of the deal. Can you share some of your tips about what sells homes these days besides the price point?
Absolutely. I think it's a full package, and every buyer wants to walk into a turnkey home. I feel like almost regardless of what they say, when you're working with them and they're like, well, I do a fixer upper. When I walk with them into a home that's completely turnkey, it's a game changer. So, things that I like to coach my sellers on, and that I really pride myself in the details, because I tell my sellers, it's money in your pocket and it's my brand. I want to put the best home out there that we possibly can. So, things that we always go through are every single room, the curb appeal, um, easy things. Decluttering is really, really important. New paint goes so far. It is absolutely transformational, what the difference a fresh coated paint can make on the exterior. And here in Flagstaff, we've got a lot of brown. So if you do it, and change the trim color to white, you've got almost a brand new looking house.
Hmm.
Cleaning is so important after you declutter. Getting the windows clean for the high definition resolution so you can see the trees, and that comes
Mm.
inside of the home from the photography. Other things are removing just items and putting them out into the storage unit or the garage. So I was walking through with a client the other day and coaching him on a home, a historic home in Williams. And I just said, hey, let's remove a few pieces of furniture to really showcase how big the spaces in this room, and it has made a drastic difference. So I think really preparing the sellers that I work with, that has translated to multiple offers for my sellers and great happiness from the buyers that attracts.
You know, Lori, I've heard horror stories about sellers who leave an open house filthy, things in the pool that shouldn't be in the pool, a simple paint, every room a different color and odd colors. And you can save people thousands of dollars by just getting the house clean, for example.
Mhm. Truly, I've got one example of a townhome that I had taken a buyer to, and I know this buyer really well. We've been working together about a year, and the home fit the criteria. It was 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 2 car garage. And we get to the home, the photos on MLS looked decent. It was vacant. And we walk in, and it's a totally different story. It is filthy on the inside.
Mm.
And the deck looked like it could potentially fall off the home because it needed a coat of paint. We had a big winter, and everything needs to be painted that's wood every 1 to 2 years for maintenance purposes. So that was a sweet spot price point of $450,000. I got an email from the listing agent the next day that said that because of the feedback, they had dropped the price by 25,000. That still did not woo my buyer to want to go back there and deal with what she then perceived as maintenance issue on the deck, although it was
Mm.
paint and the cleanliness. And so that price cut of 25,000 was 5.5% of that original purchase price. And it would have cost around $500 to get that home cleaned, like perfectly cleaned. And it would have cost around $4,500 to paint that deck, saving that seller that was not my client, $20,000 in pocket. So yes, it is so important to prepare your home.
You mentioned an important thing too. If you see something wrong that's a simple fix, you might think, well, if they haven't addressed that, there's probably a lot I can't see that they haven't addressed. I think that's an important note. We all need to listen to our realtors.
Yes, please. And it is, you're talking about buyer psychologies. And of course, there's seller psychologies as well. But you're absolutely right. If people start noticing things that have gone unmaintained, they're absolutely making a mental list of anything else that they foresee that would cause them problems in the future.
You know, and we've talked about prices. Prices continue to go up, but there's always those who can't wait for maybe them to start to come down. They're looking to buy right now. They might be moving for a job or for family reasons, and we know that prices continue to go up. So, what do you tell first-time home buyers who are looking for more affordable housing? What are some of their options in this market today?
I love working with first-time home buyers. I think it's a lot of fun. You get to help them on their journey, and life changes drastically when you get into your first new home and you start getting
Mhm.
those tax benefits and just the pride of ownership. So, how I'm coaching first-time buyers these days is to potentially look a little outside of the city limits, and their dollar can go a lot further. For example, I'm starting to see a lot more activity in Williams. And I always call Williams kind of the bedroom community of Flagstaff, but we are seeing a lot more activity there. We're also seeing some really nice prices in Belmont parks. And then I think because of the big winter that we had, I think some first-time homebuyers are looking in the Verde Valley, and you can easily commute from Rimrock up. You're looking less than 45 minutes, way less than 45-minute commute. And same with Williams, you're looking at about a 30-minute commute, and your dollar stretches a lot further.
You know, Lauren, I think we should point out that a commute in northern Arizona is not the same as a commute in a busy city like LA. You're driving through beautiful fields of sunflowers, maybe snow on the peaks. It's just a gorgeous and pleasant way to start your day. So very good advice. You know, the New York Times recently reported that college graduates and others are leaving the country's most expensive metropolitan areas, such as New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles, and moving to less expensive major metropolitan areas like Denver, Houston, and Phoenix. The story also said more affordable cities are more desirable than they used to be. And I know that there's been great strides made in economic development in some of Arizona's smaller towns, like you mentioned Camp Verde and Williams and Prescott Valley. Tell us what you're seeing and what buyers are liking about smaller towns right now.
I think it all comes down to lifestyle. I really do. And when you're talking about the article saying that students are relocating from those bigger metropolitans, I had clients in town 2 weeks ago from Chicago, and they were just simply looking for a different lifestyle, a slower pace. They do actually want to relocate to Phoenix, and I will help them there find their primary home. And then they already know that they want a vacation home here in Flagstaff. I think after COVID, a lot of people really evaluated what was important to them. And especially with the changes in office and so many people being able to work virtually now, we're seeing that influx definitely coming to Arizona from all different parts of the country. And then specifically from the valley up to Flagstaff, we're seeing so many people that had maybe kind of been, tiptoeing and dipping their toe in the water to think about a vacation home, where they're saying, gosh, I can work anywhere I want to now. And I could live in Flagstaff, have a little bit of a slower pace of life, and be outdoors and enjoy those things on the commute, like you're talking about. But that would be a commute to come into the grocery store, do different things, hiking, biking. I really think it's just lifestyle that's attracting so many people to Arizona,
Well,
and cost of living.
you're definitely speaking my language. We should talk about interest rates a little bit too. So the Federal Reserve announced its 10th interest rate rise in a little over a year's time in an effort to pump the brakes on inflation, which means the cost of loans has gone up substantially on big expenses like cars, business expansions, and homes. How are home buyers dealing with the higher interest rates and more expensive mortgages?
Good question. And May 3rd was that most recent interest rate hike. I believe, and what I've seen on the front lines is that buyers are coming to terms with those new interest rates. And where we were at historic lows, basically a little over a year ago, with interest rates, we are now just about double where we were with those interest rates. And home buyers have just simply, they've come to terms with that. I can say from a personal standpoint, I wish that the interest rates would quit increasing and that the Fed would be happy with inflation and where it's at right now, because we've got so many people that are looking and they can just afford a little bit less of home based off of those new interest rates. But it's still happening, and it is happening at a very fast pace here in Flagstaff, that people have mindset wise become okay with the interest rates.
Well, here's the $1 million question. You must get this asked every day. Have we shifted or are we shifting to a buyer's market? We've been in a seller's market for so long.
I do get asked that question quite
I
often.
bet.
And I really believe here in our market in Northern Arizona, we are very balanced. That's the sweet spot below 600,000 that we were talking about earlier: 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 2 car garage, move in ready. Those are still getting multiple offers. So that absolutely is the seller's market on that end. And when we're talking a little bit over the $600,000 mark, and or the home is not in move-in condition, there's things that the buyer is going to have to do to get it prepped and ready for their family. We're seeing that it's more of a buyer's market, and there are some concessions being made by sellers when those items are not being taken care of on the front end to get the home prepped and ready to sell.
Well, being a real estate agent and having to operate in high gear through the last few years, It's not for everybody, really, but you are clearly thriving in it. You love what you do, and it really shows. Does it take a special personality to be a realtor?
I think honestly, it takes passion.
Hmm.
You have to love what you're doing. I love my clients. I love real estate. I love going on the journey to help buyers find their dream home. I love helping my sellers sell their home and go on to the next chapter in their life. And I think communication is a huge part of that because there's so many questions. People don't sell homes on such a regular basis. On average, it's said to be every 7 years. And so helping answer questions and let them know where they stand is really important.
Well, Laurie, you were definitely meant for this high energy, ever changing real estate landscape. As always, I appreciate your insight from the front lines, your diligence in your research, and your creativity and determination to make dreams come true for others. Thank you for spending so much time with us.
Thank you, Bonnie. It was wonderful to be here. Thanks again.
Award winning real estate agent Laurie Anna Harrison is a wealth of knowledge and an enthusiastic and diligent dream finder for her clients. You can reach her at Laurie at azdreamlifestyle.com or read more at flagstaffbusinessnews.com. As Laurie Anna Harrison says, it is an exciting time in real estate right now and an exciting time for Arizona cities as our state continues to be among the fastest growing in the nation. As you've heard, opportunity abounds for dreams to come true. This is Zonie Living, Business, Adventure, and Leadership. I'm Bonnie Stevens.